Good morning. I'm glad to be with you again today. We're here for Bible study. We're continuing from our studies from the book of Esther, looking at how the providence of God is moving on behalf of his people. We will be in the 3rd chapter of the book of Esther, and our subject is Satan is the true enemy. But Satan will work through this man named Haman to form a conspiracy or a plot against the people of God because of Mordecai, who refused to bow down to him. And so we're looking at this story to see the providence of God as he provides for the needs of his people. It's called the providential care of God. And when we become believers, God already knows before the foundation of the world when we will receive him. And based upon his love, he obligates himself to take care of us no matter what. And so chapter 3 in the book of Esther is going to be this conspiracy that Haman plots against this man named Mordecai, who is the first cousin of Queen Esther. She has become queen now, and because of her, the people are going to, in the end, be saved by the grace of God. And so chapter 3 verse 1 says, "After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him." And so after these things refers to the events that took place in chapter 2. Then this man was amongst the princes of the king's government. The king decided to promote this man Haman. And Haman is called an Agagite, which means he comes from the people of the Amalekites and the king Agag. And if you have studied the book of 1 Samuel, you'll remember that the Lord told King Saul to kill all of the Amalekites out of the land. And Saul failed to do that, and this people continues, and they are under the control of Satan. There's one thing about people in the world. We're either being controlled by God or we're under the control of Satan. And Satan, since the beginning when sin entered the world, he has been after Jesus to put him to death because of the prophecy God gave him in Genesis chapter 3, where God told Satan that Satan's seed would bruise the heel of the Savior, but that the seed of the woman would bruise his head. And throughout the ages, Satan has been working through people to operate to kill, steal, and destroy. So this man was an Agagite, and the king advanced him and gave him the highest seat in the government. Verse 2, and all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. They were compelled, for the next part of the verse says, for the king had commanded this concerning him, that the people, all the servants of the king, would bow down to this man named Haman. But there was one man that refused to do that, and it says, but Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. And to do him reverence was to respect him in the same order as they would respect the king. And because of this, verse 3 says, then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, why transgresses or violate thou the king's commandment? So the other servants approached Mordecai and asked him why he did not bow down and reverence Haman and show the kind of honor to him that the king had ordered. And so verse 4 says, now it came to pass, when they spake, that is, the other king's servants spake daily to him, to Mordecai, and he hearkened not unto them, he still refused, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. So because they kept asking him repeatedly to bow down to Haman, and Mordecai continued to refuse, these same people took their case to Haman to see if Haman would understand that Mordecai didn't bow down because he was a Jew. And Jews only served the living God. And verse 5 says, and when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath, which means he was full of rage and anger. And he thought scorn, according to verse 6, Haman thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai, so that he formed a conspiracy in his own mind and planned to bring harm to Mordecai. And it was because they had showed Haman, Mordecai's people, that Haman decided to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. So, verse 7, in the first month, that is the month Nisan, Now, I need to stop right there because they are in a foreign land. They are in the province of Babylon, even though Persia is ruling now. And so secular history calls the first month Nisan, but the Jews call the first month of the year Abib, which is the first month of the Jewish year. And since Reconstruction and the departure of the Europeans from the Middle East, Europe, people call the first month of the year in our culture January. But this is secular history when they call the first month Nisan, and it was in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, and they cast Pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. So the first month is Nisan, the 12th month is Adar. So from April to April, they cast the lot to see if Mordecai was going to be the one that continued to refuse to bow to Haman. Verse 8 says, "And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus," that is, after these 12 months, "there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom." And we know that he ruled over 127 provinces. And then he goes on to tell the king, "And their laws are diverse, are different from all people. Out of all the 127 provinces, made up of different nationalities of people, the Jews' laws was different from every other culture, and neither keep they the king's laws." In other words, this would be civil law, but the Jews refused to keep the laws of the king. And so Haman says to the king, "Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them or to put up with them." And so he insinuated that the Jews were not going to be, was not going to pay revenues or taxes in the king's provinces. So he's deciding how to set Mordecai and the rest of the Jews up. So he says to the king in verse 9, "If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed." And we know that when a decree is written in Persia, that law could not be changed. And he says, "Let it be written that they may be destroyed." And we know Satan's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. And he works his will through people who allow him to, and people that turn away from the truth of who God is and his word. They can easily become subjects of Satan. And so this man is being controlled by Satan, but it's because he has refused to acknowledge the living God. And it says, we're in verse 9 still. He says, if you let it be written that they be destroyed, he says, and I'm willing to pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasures. So I'll give you 10,000 talents so that out of that you can have revenue to pay the people in charge of carrying out this plot. Verse 10 says, and the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And remember, Satan is the true enemy working through this man. And for the king to take off his ring and give it to Haman, it means that the king approved of what Haman was attempting to do. Verse 11, and the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee. You don't have to give me this money. The people also do, and the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. So you keep your money, but you go on and set things up to destroy the people of Mordecai, who is the enemy of our kingdom, but they are an enemy to God's people. So verse 12 says, then were the king's scribes. Now the scribes were the legal representatives of the king. So then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, which is Nisan, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. This plot had the stamp of approval from King Ahasuerus to hire these governors and lieutenants and army to destroy Jews who were living, some in every one of the 127 provinces. Verse 13. And the letters were sent by post, and these posts are messengers, into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey, to take all their valuables and take them as booty, or gathering of everything valuable, bring it back to the kingdom of Ahasuerus. So upon this certain day, they were to go out into every state over which the king ruled and take the Jews, even to little children and old people, and kill and destroy them. Again, Satan's mission is to steal, kill, and destroy, according to John 10, verse 10a. And verse 14, the copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. That is, against in the 12th month of the month of, it would be translated April. And the messengers of the post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment. They were not going to hesitate or slow down from carrying these letters to the governors and lieutenants, so that the people of the land would cooperate with them to kill the Jews. And the decree, the statute, was given in Shushan the palace, which is the royal palace of King Ahasuerus. It was given from this decree was given from the palace by the king. And the king and Haman, while all of this is going on, the king and Haman sat down to drink. But the city Shushan was perplexed. They were confused. The people in the city Shushan and in the palace was confused about what was going on to cause Haman to make this conspiracy against one man because he refused to bow down to him. And so we'll see in chapter 4 how Mordecai is going to handle this matter, and how Queen Esther will be providentially used to intervene on behalf of the people of the Jews. And as I said before, the devil has been plotting against the seed of the woman since Genesis 3:15, and through Exodus, and trying to destroy all the boy babies, and Cain killing Abel, and all of these are events where the devil is trying to destroy and keep Jesus from going to the cross. And he's been doing this since all the way from then up until Jesus finished the work of redemption at Calvary. So as we go through life, even in our day, we see the enemy working through people to steal, kill, and destroy. And the plot is to make people follow after wickedness and violence rather than following after God. But we can be sure, because believers are the children of God, that God will protect us. And our job is to put on the whole armor of God, that we may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore, we are to take unto us the whole armor of God, that we may be able to stand in this evil day. And we're to stand, therefore, having our loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and our feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith we shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and to take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication and perseverance for the saints. So this was a short lesson, only 15 verses, but if I go into the 4th chapter, it would require too much time. So we're going to stop here, and thank you all for listening, and thank you for sharing. And remember that my email address is bjt1125@yahoo.com. And be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to look at my other videos of Matthew, the book of Proverbs, the Revelation, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Nahum, Malachi, and Hosea, and you will be hopefully helped by studying along with me. So if you're on Facebook, please like, share, and comment. So you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you next week for chapter 4 in the book of Esther. Have a great day.